Hello, I'm Marsha Chan from Mission College. Welcome to Advanced Grammar Review and Editing. Today we're going to look at student compositions on Chapter 1, the present. We'll take a look at grammar, vocabulary, writing, and editing. First, let's review the writing assignment directions. You'll recall that for Chapter 1, the present, we studied simple present, present continuous, present perfect continuous. And your week 1 writing assignment was to write a paragraph in the present time frame. You needed to compose a short composition of 150 to 175 words using different verb tenses in the present time frame. I recommend that you refer back to Grammar Sense Chapter 1, the present, and refer to Exercise C4 for topic ideas and the writing checklist on pages 13 through 14. Underline the verbs in the present time frame. Examine the vocabulary in your writing by copying and pasting your sentences in the web vocabulary profiler at lextutor.ca/vp/eng. Strive to include at least 5% words from the academic word list, AWL, which are shown in yellow. You'll see that C4 Write asks you to write about trends. In other words, some sort of pattern that shows the way a situation is developing. Culture or tradition that has influenced you. Talk about your experiences speaking a second or other language. Something that you've noticed about a particular country that's becoming more important globally. Some cultural artistic trends that you've experienced. Those are some topics. I also said you could refer to page 14 for more writing topics. For example, another option is to find something else about a current trend from reading the newspaper, listening to television or radio stories. And also you could choose a topic about technology, family, music, shopping, about changes in these areas. You were reminded to use certain time expressions, for example, nowadays, these days, and currently, to talk about simple present and present continuous actions. And you could use recently, until recently, up to now, in recent years, months, or weeks, over the last few days, weeks, or months, when you're using present perfect or present perfect continuous. I asked you to use the writing checklist to check your paragraph before you posted it, and of course observe the due date. Did you use a simple present to describe general truths, routines, habits, or facts? Did you use the present perfect to describe things that happened in the past and relate to the present? Did you use the present continuous and or the present perfect continuous to show changing situations? Did you use other tenses? Did you use time expressions such as recently, up to now, or these days? Did you check your verb phrases for the correct form? I hope so. Now let's take a look at some student writing. Here's an essay by Student 1 called Speaking a Second Language. That's the title that was placed into the subject line in the discussion forum for Chapter 1. Almost people in the United States speak 2 or more languages. According to researchers, they said there are 2 main advantages for bilinguals: better memories, problem-solving abilities. I am an ESL student, and I have been studying it for almost 2 years. At the beginning, my husband and I were worried about my memory because I had a big trouble to memorize English words. After 1 year learning English, I was surprised my memory is stronger than before, even though I am over 30. Recently, I have also found out that I stopped complaining things. 2 years before, when I had any problems, my first reaction was asking for help. But now, I would like to think about how to solve them by myself. As an immigrant came here, my career had totally to start over. To start a new career means I had to learn English, which was my worst subject in high school. At first, I was super depressed by learning a second language, but now I'm happy with it. Communicating with each other in English is enjoyable, especially in this country full of immigrants. Speaking a second language actually benefits me beyond these. In addition, the best benefit for me is self-confidence. When my English has improved, my confidence is increasing. I believe there are more advantages than I mentioned. If you try speaking a second language, you'll find out. Okay, thank you very much, Student 1, for writing this paragraph. And the question number 1 is this topic about a trend? Yes, in fact, speaking a second language was one of the topics that was proposed for your essay here. How about the word length? how long is this paragraph? Is it within the 150 to 175 words? Well, there's an easy way to check this when you're using Microsoft Word. You go to your Tools menu, you pull it down to Word Count, and it automatically counts the words for you. So when we selected that first, of course, and then put it through, we find out that this has 235 words. So you can see there are 235 words, which is excessive. It's beyond the limitation or the criteria for word length for this essay. Anyway, it's a good paragraph, but it could be a lot shorter because we're not trying to write full essays in our ESL 970G. You do when you're in 970 RW for reading and writing, or the other class that's 5 units long. You are supposed to write longer essays, but in the 3-unit grammar class, we focus mainly on short pieces. Okay, now let's go to the simple present, some general truths, routines, and habits and facts. Let's take a look. The sentence has speak, and that's good. Most people in the United States speak. Now notice the wrong use of almost. I know a lot of my students miss this, so I want to make sure you understand this. You have to say most people, not almost. Almost is only an adverb, and it needs to come right before an adjective. So almost all, almost none, almost 40 people. But here we mean most people in the United States. Speak 2 or more languages, that's good for present, it's a general truth. And in the second sentence you have, there are 2 main advantages for bilinguals. All right, that's good. So according to research said, that's not very good because when you use the prepositional phrase according to researches, then you put a comma and there should not be any verb at all. All right, you can say researchers say, that's a subject, researchers, and the verb say, simple present as in factual truth. Or if you say, according to researchers, then you would put comma, get rid of the word said. And there are 2 main advantages for bilinguals, or are there advantages for being bilingual as an adjective? All right, so I think it's for being bilingual. Better memories, problem-solving abilities. Uh-oh, something's wrong here. Here's a comma between 2 items. It means I'm going to tell you 1, 2, and at least 3 items. But here, it's a mistake. So you have to put an and when you only have 2, right? So for 2 parallel items, you have to join it by the and without any punctuation. If you have 3 items, then you have item A, comma, item B, comma, and item C. I am an ESL student and I've been studying it. What is it? There's no it. If you look at the word it, this is a pronoun that refers back to something, but there is no singular anything. So I think what you've been studying is English. The verb is good. I have been studying English. If you use the present perfect continuous, it's good because I know that you're still studying it now. So you started 2 years ago and you're still studying it now. Okay, the next sentence that we want to look at in terms of present is the underlying verb is. My memory is stronger than before. That's good. That's for non-action verb, present tense, simple. And let's see, I am over 30. Am, again, is another be verb. Used it in the simple present. That's correct. Recently, I've also found out that I stopped complaining things. All right, so that's a good verb for present perfect because it happened in the past and it relates to the present, which is item number 4. What we use, complaining. Okay, so complaining is not a VT, it's a VI. VIs don't take any direct objects, so you can't say complaining things. You have to say complaining, and then you have to use a preposition, complaining about things. So remember that VI requires a preposition, not a direct object. What else do you have? You have career means. Okay, to start a new career means I had to learn English. Let's see. That's probably not a good thing to put in the present tense because that happened in the past. I think over here would be better to use the past tense because meant I had to learn English. Had to learn past tense. I had to learn is good. So I think you have to use the past tense. And it fits with the whole sentence, which was my worst subject in high school. So those are past tense, which follows under number 6, other tenses. Let's see. You have a couple of other underlined verbs. I am happy with it. Okay, that's a present now. And Communicating with each other in English is enjoyable. Okay, you're using the be verb quite a bit. I would like you to use a lot more, try to think of using some action verbs. Oh, you do use an action verb next. You say benefits me. Speaking a second language actually benefits me. And then you also use the best benefit for me is self-confidence. So that's also simple present. Now, the use of is improved is incorrect because the word improve is a verb. So use the verb. Don't use the word is. When my English improves. All right. Now, when my English improves, it would be the simple present tense. The next verb is incorrect. When my English improves, my confidence increases. All right. So you need to have parallelism here. One thing happens and another thing happens. So my English improves, my confidence improves or increases. So when my English improves, my confidence increases. I don't see any number 5 present continuous that is correct for this particular paragraph. You did use some time expressions for number 7, and you used recently. And verb phrases use the correct form. I think I already told you about a few of those. All right, so nice paragraph. A few other things I could talk about. So in this sentence here, 2 years before when I had any problems, my first reaction was, here you should use the infinitive of purpose, to ask for help. To ask for help tells me the reason why you are asking. So my first reaction was to ask for help. But now I would like to think about how to solve them. What is them? Think about how to solve problems by myself. I think that's what you mean, right? Now, here's a problem that you had with the word according to and as. As an immigrant, all right, if you use as an immigrant, then don't put a verb here. As an immigrant, cross out came here. My career. That's not right because it's an improper modification. An immigrant is not your career. An immigrant is I. So you have to say, as an immigrant, comma, I had to start over. I had to start my career over. I had to totally start my career over. That would probably be the best way. To start a new career meant. Okay, let's see. Now, don't use super depressed because super is, like very oral and casual and kind of slang. So you could say I was extremely depressed, I was very depressed, or maybe I was just rather depressed. Okay, but don't use the word super in an academic essay. And you weren't depressed by learning, but you were depressed to learn. So use the infinitive here instead of the by phrase. And so what I'm curious about is when you say I'm happy with it, what does it refer to? So a couple of times I'm mentioning that your pronoun doesn't have a clear antecedent. It's not clear what it means. So I'm happy with my English, or I'm happy learning English. Something like that. I'm happy to learn English now. I'm not sure what it is that you're happy with. That needs some clarification. Okay. Let's see. On the second to last sentence, you could also add something here. I believe there are more advantages than the ones I mentioned. The ones I mentioned. Than the ones that I mentioned. All right, so that's the paragraph and some comments on your grammar here. Now I want to show you what the lextutor.ca shows us, the vocab profile. So I entered this into the box on that page, and I came up with this colorful chart that shows that most of the words are blue, which means they come from the first 1,000 words. They're 90% blue. Well, I'm looking for something like 80%, but 90%, that's not bad. Okay, and then we have 4% K2 words. That could be a little bit more. K2 words are words 1,001 to 2,000. And AWL words are the academic words. You've got 3.39. That could be a little bit higher, but that's a good start. It's a really nice start. And then you have a couple of them which are off list. That means that they're not as frequently used in writing as some of the others, but it doesn't mean anything about them being bad. All right, so that's nice. Thanks very much for that paragraph, and I hope that I've given you some comments that are helpful. Let's look at student 2. This one was titled in the subject line, My Profile. So actually when I first saw this, I thought, I'm wondering if this one was posted to the wrong discussion forum, because the first discussion forum was my in myself or my introductions. So it seems to me that would be more appropriate in terms of topic for here. But let's just go ahead and take a look at it. And it's a good thing that this its writer has also underlined key verbs here. My name is Bin Nguyen. I come from Vietnam. I've been living in the U.S. for more than 2 years. I'm living with my family in San Jose now, and I have a twin brother as well. I've been studying in Mission College since 2013. I always go to school by car. The first time when I enrolled in Mission College, everything seems to really straight to me. But now, after 2 semesters, I'm used to it. Everything doesn't as difficult as the first time. I have a part-time job in a restaurant in Milpitas. I have been working there for 2 years. I work 6 days a week and just in the evening. I like my job, but in the future, I will find another job that helps me in my career. After school and work, I like to play a game, listen to music, and watch some films on the internet. I hope I will have a great semester and my English will be improved more than last semester. Okay, that is a paragraph that's easily to understand, and the topic is not a trend. I don't think this really fits into the topics that I asked you to write about, but all right, this is your first attempts, and then we won't worry about that too much. But let's take a look at the length. The length turns out to be just right at 175 words. Simple present, there are a number of simple presents here to show general truths, routines, habits, and facts, such as I come from Vietnam. Now that's a little bit different. I come from Vietnam is the same as I originate from Vietnam, so we always use that in the simple present tense. I have a twin. This one is a true fact, I'm sure. And let's see, I always go to school by car. That's a habitual action. I work 6 days a week. That's habitual. I like my job. That seems to be like probably a general truth. I like to play game. This is also the same as I like here. This one, we need to go over this sentence a little bit later. And I hope I will have. So when you use I hope, that means I hope now, and this one is a non-action verb, so it's appropriate to use it in the simple form and not the continuous. Now, present perfect. Let's look at some present perfect tenses here. Don't see any. How about number 5, present continuous or present perfect continuous? All right, let's look at those. I have been living in, all right, this is good. I have been living in the U.S. About more than 2 years. That is good use because I suppose that 2 years ago you were living here and now you're still living here. We have some error with the U.S. We make sure that when you talk about U.S., you have to have the U.S., in the U.S. And also, don't forget the other period. U.S., if you're going to abbreviate it, has to be U period, S period, because it means the United States. If you write it completely, it'll be even better when you're writing an academic essay. Now, about more. I stumbled over this when I read it because we don't want to put those two together. You have to say more than 2 years or about 2 years. Those are two different things. More than 2 years means 2 years, 3 years, or 2 years, 2 years and 5 months. If you say about, that could be yet less or more. So this is not appropriate to use both of those things. So which one is true? You'll have to figure that out and let us know next time. You said I'm living with my family in San Jose now. All right, so that's using the present continuous, and that looks right. And I have a twin brother as well. But that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. I am living, so this is an action, and then I have, and that's a state. I don't know why you're joining it together. And as well means, well, I'm doing two things. They're not two things. So grammatically it's correct, but in terms of logic, it doesn't make sense to join these two types of clauses. You should have clauses that are both talking about some sort of action. Maybe I'm living da-da-da and I'm working da-da-da. Or something, I'm living da-da-da and I'm going to school da-da-da. That would be parallel ideas that could be joined by coordinated conjunction and. I've been studying in Mission College. Okay, have been studying is a present perfect continuous, and that's perfect. But we don't say in, we say at. You're studying at Mission College. And since 2013 is fine. I always go to school by car. That's okay. Now, the first time when I enrolled at Mission College, everything seems. And now, here's the problem. You did not use this one correctly because This should be in the past tense. You enrolled at Mission College in the past, right? That's in the past. So seems cannot be in the present. It has to be in the past. Also, it doesn't make sense to say the first time when I enrolled, because I think you only enrolled once, right? So otherwise it sounds like, and the second time I enrolled, and the third time I enrolled, and every time I enroll. Well, I doubt that you keep on enrolling in Mission College. I think you probably enrolled once and then you have been taking classes. Now, I don't understand this part because it says seems to really straight to me. That doesn't make any sense to me. Do you mean the word strange, as in unusual or foreign? Then that's the word you should use. Seems to be, maybe you should use the verb to be strange to me. But now after 2 semesters, okay, when you're writing, write out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All the numbers from 1 to 10, please write them out using letters when you're writing an essay. Now after 2 semesters, I'm used to it. Okay, what does it refer to? Strange things or the college or, again, here's a problem with the antecedent. What does this pronoun really point to? Okay, now, everything doesn't is bad English. Maybe that works in your language, but it doesn't work in English. You can use nothing plus an affirmative verb. But the problem here is you have an auxiliary, you don't have a main verb. I don't even know what doesn't is supposed to go with. It needs to have some sort of a main verb. So when you rewrite this sentence, what is the main verb? And try to express it using the subject, nothing. Okay, I have a part-time job. Part-time should be hyphenated as a compound adjective. The restaurant in Milpitas. Okay, I've been working there for 2 years. Again, write the number TWO. Work 6 days and okay, so I work 6 days a week and just in the evening. You could just say I work 6 evenings a week, right? It doesn't really make sense for you to mention days and evenings. I like my job, but in the future I will find another job that helps me in my career. Okay, what is your career? Oops, don't know what your career is. Maybe you should tell us. After school and work, I like to playing. Oh, please do not mix up the infinitive and the gerund. So you can say I like to play, or you can say I like playing. Most verbs can only take one type of object, either the infinitive object or the gerund object. Like I enjoy always follow this one with the word with a gerund form. But like can be followed by either to play or playing. Also, this one needs to be plural. Okay, English is a nouns. You have to determine if they're count or non-count. The word game is definitely a count noun, so use it in the plural. I like to play games, or I like playing games. Listen to music. Okay, music is a non-count noun, so this is fine. And watch some films on the internet. So you didn't use any qualifiers for game or music. It's a little bit odd that you have a qualifier for film, so I would just get rid of the word some. I hope I'll have a great semester and my English will, not be improved. Just say improve, improve. Improve is a intransitive verb. So intransitive means it doesn't have to have an object. And you can just say my English will improve. And let's see. When you say you hope your English will improve more than last semester, I'm not sure that you're doing the right kind of comparison. The way you wrote it, it sounds like it improved a certain amount last semester, and now you hope it'll improve a different amount that is greater than the amount last year. Or do you just mean you hope that your English will improve and you'll speak better or write better than last semester? Something like that. Okay, you want to look at your vocabulary? Let's take a look. Here's what it looks like. You've got 87% blue words, which are the K through 1 words. You've got 2.3% green words, that's the K2, not too many. You should probably have more there. You have very few AWO academic words. You know why? Because you didn't choose an academic topic. So you're just talking about your daily life, and your daily life doesn't appear the way you wrote it to have many academic words in it. So I would strive to write something more academic so you can use more academic vocabulary. Let's see, you kind of had a lot of repetitions of mission, semester, semesters. Okay, so you can also work on vocabulary when you're rewriting this, or, you can leave it for the next time. in your next essay. Okay, thanks very much. Here's student 3. Now, the title that was written in the subject line said couleurs and languages. So I think couleurs is not an English word at all. Perhaps you mean culture, C-U-L-T-U-R-E. Please do a spell check. You need to make sure that you're spelling important words like that. Your first word, you need to spell it correctly. All right. This looks like a really, really, really long essay, much longer. It's certainly not going to fit into the word limits of 150 to 175 words. But let's go over it anyway. It might be interesting. A lot of people from another country has been coming to the United States all the time. Although they know that this country is still trying to rise from an economic crisis. In that case, it is very important to be learning the language that country did you choose to live. I'm not being different from these people. Up to now, I am still learning English and also Spanish language. In my opinion, is fundamental to involve in new cultures because beside learn the language, you also give to yourself traditions of each regions, such as types of food, types of entertainment, and also the history of the place. When people decide to travel or live in another part of the world, automatically we have to change some actions as we have used to in our country. In Brazil, most women and men give 3 kisses to each other to say hi. But here in the United States, do you usually shake hands with when you meet a new person? I have visited different places here in the United States, but in California, in my opinion, is the best place to live because here you can find a lot of kinds of cultures and languages. You can learn Spanish, Chinese, Hindi, etc., and also understand some stories of these countries without leaving California. I am very happy where I am. I have my job, and every day I'm learning more about this country. Okay, interesting essay about cultures and languages. It doesn't seem to be anything about a trend. I don't see any trend of anything changing from the past to the present, although there's a little bit of change in terms of coming to this country. The word length is 237. It far exceeds the word length requirement. And another thing is the way you look at it, it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 paragraphs. So that's another thing that tells us it's not as well organized and compact as it could be. But it can make, you're working on it, and we can make some improvements by looking at what you got that's useful and some things that need to be changed. Let's see if you have any. Number 3, simple present, general truths, routines, and habits. Let's see. I see the word give. In Brazil, most women and men give 3 kisses to each other to say hi. All right, that's good use of simple present because it seems to be habitual. And you underline the word shake, which I think could be simple present, but the whole sentence structure is poor, and we need to fix it. So in the United States, that's okay, except for make the T of the United States small. Capital U, capital S is good. Do you usually shake? This is a question. So I don't know why you're asking a question. I don't think you mean to ask a question. I think you mean to make a statement. So don't use an auxiliary. You only use an auxiliary before the subject when you're asking a question. So if you want to say here in the United States, you can omit the word here. You can just say in the United States, get rid of the word do, and say you usually shake hands. And that makes sense. Get rid of the word with, because there's no, this is a preposition, and a preposition has to have an object, and there's no object here. So you either have to put an object with someone or get rid of that preposition altogether. So in the United States, you usually shake hands when you meet. You should have underlined that one. That's a simple present when you meet a new person. Okay, now there are a lot of verbs that you have not underlined, so I'm not sure if you're really aware of which ones are verbs and which ones ought to be simple present tense. But this is kind of long, so I just want to pick a few then. Present perfect, number 4, Did you write the present perfect to talk about something that happened in the past and is related to the present? That's the question. I am looking. There's one that looks good, and that's in the fourth paragraph where you underlined, I have visited different places here in the United States. Okay, so that looks like an appropriate use of the present perfect tense to describe something or some action that happened before now, but is somehow related to the present. Now, you underlined something else that is not correct. You wrote, we have used. Now, this doesn't make sense. So I had a hard time reading this one because I didn't understand exactly what you meant. So let me go back to the beginning of this paragraph. When people decide, oh, see, here's another present tense. You didn't underline that. When people decide to travel or live in another part of the world, that clause is fine. Automatically, we have to change. I don't think it's automatic. I think it's definitely not automatic. A lot of people don't change, so I would get rid of this word. We have to change. Okay, here's have to. This is a modal. Have to change some actions. I think you mean used to as in accustomed to. So I think this whole sentence back here, though the whole clause back here is incorrect. I think you mean to say we have to change some actions that we used to do in our countries, that we used to do, that we were, yeah, I think that's what you need to say, and not have, but we used to do, past tense, used to, showing past habit. And don't put a capital for country because that's not the name of a country. That's a common noun. It's not a proper noun. Brazil is a proper noun, so capital B is perfect. And as I said, United States, capital U, capital S, but not capital T. We have another question 5. Are there any present continuous and or present perfect continuous verbs to show changing situations? All right, you underlined the one in the first sentence. A lot of people from another country has been coming to the United States all the time. Okay, this is a problem. All the time doesn't make sense to be used with the present perfect continuous. All the time, it would be simple present. A lot of people come to the United States, right? So these are definitely in contradiction with one another. Another problem with it is the word people in English is a plural noun. It's an irregular one because the singular is person. We don't say a lot of persons. So one person, many people. So a lot of people from another have been coming if you want to show present perfect and they're still coming. I'll let you know this country is still trying to rise from an okay, so the verb is okay, but this whole clause is wrong. It is a fragment, because you start out with the word although, and that's an adverb, and this is an adverbial clause here. This is a dependent clause. It's looking for a main clause. It's not stuck onto a main clause. It's a dependent clause that needs an independent clause joined to it in order for it to be a correct sentence. An economic crisis. What is the main clause supposed to say? Let's see. Now, a lot of places you've put a verb like is, but you don't have a subject. So the subject in English you would have to use like the dummy subject it. It is very important. Another place where you use that is, in my opinion, is fundamental. All right, it is fundamental. Probably it's important or it's essential to involve. I'm not sure exactly what this means. So what I'd like you to do is to cut this paragraph down, get your main essential ideas, and try to show some sort of trend, and that will be a lot better in your revision. Let's take a look at your vocabulary, and we see that 90% of the words are of the K1 through 1000. That means the K1 words, and 2%, very small number of K2 words. You probably need more of those. And AW academic words looks like 3.7%. All right, so I would recommend that you try to tighten this one up. Too many ideas. Try to choose something more central, and when you do that, you'll be able to convert it to a paragraph within the right time frame. Thank you. Let's take a look at student 4. Now, student 4 wrote in the subject line, my assignment 1, parentheses, learning English, parentheses. Let me advise you not to write my assignment 1 in the title, just write the title of your essay. So if learning English is your title, that's all you need to write there. Okay, I'm looking at this really long thing, and I can tell you already that this is much longer than it's supposed to be. But let's take a look at it anyway. Nowadays, a lot of people in the world use English because it's the most common language. Learning English is very important to my life because it gave me a chance to get a good job and communicate with many people in foreign countries. Firstly, learning English gave me a chance to get a good job. A lot of big foreign companies which require the position consists the ability to communication skill in English. So this position has to speak English. Position does that with customers and partners. Now some companies are hiring jobs. They don't hire jobs; they hire people, which consists reading and writing skill in English. This position has to read and understand new technical documents. Furthermore, this position has to write a report to give to a boss. Therefore, learning English give me big chance to get better job. Secondly, learning English give me a chance to communicate with many people in foreign countries. A lot of countries are using English as their many languages, such as America, Canada, and Australia. Not only these countries, Asia countries, and other countries which English doesn't have to be main language, they also use English as second language. So if I learn English, I can feel confident of communicating with people who use English, especially when I travel to Euro. I can use English to talk to people. I have been living in America for 4 years. I usually talk to a lot of American people and foreign people at school and at public places. As a result, learning English helped me to talk to foreign people. In conclusion, learning English is very necessary today. It influences my life. Understanding and communicating English open big chances to my future career and talk to a lot of foreign people in the world. All right, way too long, twice as long as it should be. Needs to be a lot more compact, too many ideas. So try to, when you revise it, concentrate on just kind of like one main idea. Now let's take a look at verbs in the simple present. I don't see very many verbs underlined. I'm not sure whether you are aware of your verbs because I don't see but a few that are underlined, such as are hiring and have been living. That's only 2 verbs that are underlined. All right, I'll find some for you. So how about not? A lot of people in the world use English. Okay, that's a simple present tense, and that's appropriate for general truths. And it is the most common language. It's also simple present. Learning English is very important in my life because it gives me. Now, this one is simple present, but it's the wrong form. So this verb phrase, number 8, does not use the correct form. Why? It is third person singular. It is third person singular, which means that give must have an S on it. It gives. It gives me a chance to get a good job and communicate with many people in foreign countries. So I'm not really understanding here. I don't understand too well whether learning English already happened to you and you already have a good job. Do you have a good job? Or you hope this is going to give you a good job. So the use of simple present here is kind of odd because I can't tell what you really mean. It doesn't seem to be a habitual action unless you keep on looking for a job. Are you looking for a job all the time? Are you getting a good job all the time? Well, then the present tense would be useful, but otherwise, maybe past tense or possibly future tense. Same problem with the word give here. Learning English gives me a chance to get a good job. You're just repeating yourself. You don't need to do that. A lot of big foreign companies which require the position consists the ability. Now, this sentence doesn't make any sense. So let's look at here. Companies, what is the subject? That's the companies. All right, foreign companies, that's the subject. What is the verb? I see you have an adjective clause here which require the position. But if you say consist, that means companies consist. Companies consist of the ability. That doesn't make any sense. So maybe you mean require. Like companies require the ability to, and then when you use to, it has to be an infinitive. So communication is a noun. What is a verb? To communicate. And then skill is get rid of it. To communicate in English. A lot of big companies get rid of this whole phrase here. That doesn't make any sense. A lot of companies require the ability to communicate in English. Okay? So this position, I don't know what this position is. I don't see any position that are you advertising for a position? So this doesn't make sense. So a lot of this right here doesn't make sense to me because positions cannot speak. Only people can speak. And companies don't hire jobs. Companies hire people or personnel for jobs. And the job doesn't consist of reading and writing. Requires reading and writing. Skill, well, probably more than one, so skills. So remember that nouns, if they're count nouns, you have to add an S to it to make it plural. And again, this position has to read. That's not true. Positions don't read. Only people read. So you need to kind of restructure this one. And this doesn't make sense, therefore learning English give me a big chance. Because as I said, I'm not quite sure how you would like to position this. I mean, to explain what it is about. I'm looking for some present continuous and or present perfect continuous to talk about changing situations. So far, I don't see any changes. There are no trends. I don't see any changes from past to present. I don't see it. All of this is kind of present, but it doesn't really show any changes. A euro is the amount of money. If you pay €4 for something, that makes sense. But you don't travel to Euro. I think you travel to Europe. So I think what you need to do in writing this paragraph is to talk more about some changes that have occurred since you have learned English. Now think about what it was like when you didn't know any English in the past, and think about some benefits or changes that have happened since you started to learn English or since you now know how to read or write or listen or speak English. That would be useful. Let's take a look at your vocabulary. So this is what it looks like. You have 90% K1 words. That's a lot. And 2% K2 words. That's not very many. 3.7 academic words. You could make that more, but it's not bad for a start. And a few off-list words. Okay, so first thing I would say is to cut it down, concentrate on one central theme, and remember that you want to show some sort of trends, something that is, has some changes. Don't forget to underline all your verbs and use the checklist to help you identify which items you need to include in the paragraph. Okay, thank you. Student 5 wrote how to estimate groundwater recharge and groundwater level 1. Actually, the title was a lot longer, but I decided to cut that part off. That's the only part that you need to write in the subject line in the discussion form. Wow, this is long. Okay, let's take a look at it. Groundwater recharge is an important component of the water balance in any area. So far, it can't be accurately measured by using technology in the field. Thus, methods for simulating the flux in unsaturated zone have been used to estimate the recharge. The source responsive flow theory concentrates on how a source of recharge impacts preferential flow and leads to rapid responses and groundwater table. Researchers have been working with water data collected from several field sites that show fast groundwater level response to the precipitation or stream flow and have contributed to derive the basic model to simulate the source responsive flow. This model can be used to predict flow rate in vadose zone, simulate groundwater table fluctuations, and estimate recharge. More applications of the source responsive flow model will be worth to discover. such as groundwater level warning model, estimation of contamination, soil improvement and remediation, etc. Generally speaking, water input, including from irrigation, precipitation, and infiltration from water bodies, is unpredictable and varies with climate, seasonality, crops, and weather. It is necessary to identify and quantify water recharge episodes related to each infiltration event to reduce influences of other water input events and to determine the time delay or time lag of water table response to preferential flow. The water table fluctuation method is used to delineate time intervals of recharge and non-recharge from the water table hydrograph. Individual storms can be delineated with several criteria, and the beginning and the end of the related recharge event can be determined by using the episodic master recession method. Okay, this is way too long at 256 words, but it's got some good. It's coherent. There are lots of things that hang together here if you understand this particular field. Now I've noticed that some verbs are underlined and some are not, and also there's some prepositions underlined that should not be underlined. Let's see if there are any simple present truths, routines, habits that are underlined. All right, that is a simple present. Groundwater recharge is an important component. That's fine. What else? This one, I'm not sure when you use the word concentrates, if this is the right word. The source responsive flow theory concentrates on how source of recharge. I'm not sure what this means. Maybe people in your field understand what that means, and that's the right verb. I do see some other parts that need fixing. How source or resource. Probably this means how a source or the source or recharge impacts. This is simple present. That's, I suppose, something about a routine or a habit. And leads, you underline this one. That's correct for present tense. Let's see if you have any other present tense words. You have is, but this sentence is a little bit odd. Generally speaking, water input is unpredictable. Okay, if that is the subject, water input is unpredictable, that makes sense. You should have underlined varies, because water input varies with climate, seasonality, crops, and weather. That makes sense to me. So, yeah, that's a good use of is. It is necessary. That's suitable. Where else is there a simple present tense? You also said the water table fluctuation method is used. You should underline is used together because it's a passive voice verb. It is also present tense. It is used. If this is a common routine, then using the present tense is appropriate. Let's see, present perfect. Let's look at things that happened in the past and relate to the present. You said have been used. All right, the subject of this sentence is methods. Methods have been used. Methods for stimulating the flux in unsaturated zone. All right, that's good. So I think that's appropriate if this is some sort of action that started in the past and is still used. Notice that have been used is correct as a passive voice. Some people might have looked at this and said, oh, that doesn't look correct because it should be have been using. If you use passive voice, used is correct. So have been used by someone, have been used by operators, have been used by technicians, have been used by researchers, have been used by engineers. I'm not sure who has done the action, and maybe it's not important, which is why passive voice is used. Now, unsaturated zone probably has to have some sort of determiner in front of it. Again, I don't know that it's an unsaturated zone or the unsaturated zone because I'm not familiar with your field of study. Let's see. You said have contributed. Let's take a look at what the subject is of this verb, have contributed. So researchers, blah, 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 and have contributed. Okay, that probably makes sense. Researchers have been working. This is a present perfect continuous. They have been working, don't underline with water data collected from several field sites that show fast groundwater level response to the precipitation flow and have, so I think research is the subject, and have contributed to, all right, contributed. This word to is a preposition. When you use a preposition, the next word has to be either a noun or a pronoun or a gerund. So gerunds can work as objects. So I think the next word instead of derive should be deriving. Have contributed to deriving the basic model to simulate the source responsive flow. Did you use any other continuous forms? I guess not. But you did use some other tenses, so other forms. You have this model can be used. Don't underline to, because to predict is an infinitive of purpose. An infinitive of purpose. Can be used is the main verb. It's passive voice. It can be used by people. And you also use can't be in the second sentence. So far, it can't be accurately measured. This is the same structure as this, only it's negative. Can't be accurately measured. Passive voice using the modal of ability. I think you also use can somewhere else. You use, I think maybe your paragraph uses the word what things are able and what things are not. Oh yeah, like here. Can be determined. Also passive voice. So there's a lot of passive voice things here, which is appropriate for a scientific report. So when we're looking at the AWL words, they are many, 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 almost 16%. So you can tell that this paragraph is very academic. It's very heavy in academic words, which makes it probably difficult for most of us to understand. I would guess that many people in the class have a difficulty understanding it because it's very thick in that. But I think people in your discipline would understand this. As I said, there are some points that you need to fix in terms of grammar, and also when you do your revision, try to shorten it so you can give us really good paragraph of 150 to 175 words. Let's take a look at student 6, and student 6 wrote myself. Myself doesn't seem to be any trend of any sort. And again, when I read it, it makes me think that it should be in the introductions DF, in the introductions discussion forum, and not in the chapter 1 one. But anyway, let's take a look. My name is Hui. I'm a full-time student. This is the 4th semester in Mission College. My major is business. I've been living here for 3 years. I go to school 5 days a week and leave for school at 8 a.m. Now I'm living in Milpitas with my younger brothers and sister. I'm very busy when I come home, like helping my sister prepares some foods and cleaning the house. After that, I either study or tutor my younger brothers and sister. I don't like to go out because of my heavy schedule. Nevertheless, once in a while, I manage to join my friends on Sunday evening at restaurant or karaoke, and we all have a good time together. Most of the time, though, I just stay home listening to music, watching video, and reading books whenever I can find the time. I must study hard to go to the university. I want to become a businessman like my father, and I will try my best. Okay, so the length is good. It's within the realm at 170 words. The topic does not seem to be about any trend, but that's okay for your first one. Maybe that's part of the assignment that you missed. That's all right. Let's take a look at what we can do with a verb. Simple present. Underline, my name is Hui. Okay, that's good. I come home. That is simple present. I go to school. That's simple present. I leave for school. So those are habitual actions and routines. So that makes sense. There are a lot of other verbs that you did not underline. How about this one? I either study, that's a verb, or tutor my younger brothers and sisters. So that would be those are examples of using simple present for those habitual actions. I don't like to go out. This is simple present, don't like. It's a non-action verb, which is not used in the continuous. Once in a while, manage, simple present tense, to join my friends, once in a while. That sounds like it's some sort of habit. We'll have a good time. That's another simple present. Most of the time I just stay home. That's simple present. This is action, habitual action. Let's see, what else? I want to become, this one is a present state. So I see a lot of present tense verbs. Now let's look to see if there are any present perfect verbs, something that happened in the past and it's related to the present. Looking, not finding. I have not found a single one of the present perfect verbs. So that's because everything talks about now instead of anything leading up to now. That's something you probably ought to add to your paragraph or change so you can add some present perfect verbs. Present continuous and or present perfect continuous, showing changing conditions or changing situations. I see one, and that is I have been living here for 3 years. All right, so that means you lived here 3 years ago and you are still living here now, and that is a perfect use of the present perfect continuous. Please write out the number 3. Remember what I said about at Mission College and put a capital C. So if it's a common noun, I'm going to college, then put a small c. But if I'm going to Mission College, that's a proper noun. A proper noun needs to have capitals on both parts of the name. You say, now I'm living in Milpitas. All right, so is that showing a changing situation? Were you living somewhere else before that? Now, these that you underline with ing are incorrect. They are not present continuous verbs. No. So what you need to say is, I'm very busy when I come home. Don't use the word like. I come home to do things. Like use an infinitive of purpose or several infinitives of purpose. Why do you come home? You come home to help my sister do something. And you help somebody do something, do not use S, use the base form. I help my sister prepare food, that's a non-count noun, and clean the house. So again, your verb forms are not correct. They can be correct the next time around. What else? Okay, so not a lot of variety in the tenses. I think because the time frame that you're looking at doesn't include things that happened before now and are related to now. Now you have 92% really low base words of K1 words, very low. I think you really need to increase your vocabulary. Probably one of the reasons is that this paragraph is not academic and therefore you don't have very many academic words. But maybe when you rewrite it, you'll think of something that sounds a little bit more academic and you can put academic words into it. Here's Student 7. The topic is learning new language. I have lived in the United States for 4 years. Some people are good at learning language, but not me. I can say that I have always had problems. The way to learn English here is different than the way to learn English in my country. I have learned English since I was in high school. Until I came here, I still can't talk English well. I tried in many different ways, but so far I haven't had success. I have tried to talk to English people and children. I have communicated with my teacher to show my strength and my weakness, so my teacher can help me to find out what I need to change and learn more. Currently, I have always tried to make conversations with anybody. If I speak wrong, they can help me to fix my mistakes right away, and I remember this mistake easier. I sometimes listen to music and watch television to help me know new vocabularies and how to use tenses correctly. So far, my English have had better. Okay, so the length of this paragraph is good, and the topic is one of the topics that was presented about learning a new language. Let's take a look at simple present and the use of simple present to show general truths, routines, habits, and facts. Okay, I'm looking for something that's underlined, just is. All right. The way to learn English here is different. and the way to learn English in my country. That's a good sentence, except for I would certainly like to know what your country is. It's kind of a secret, isn't it? That's not so good. That doesn't show the reader what the comparison is. What else do we have? I need to change and learn more. That's okay, but both of these are non-action verbs. I would like to see this paragraph use action verbs, and I want to be able to see general truths, routines, and habits with some sort of action verbs. Here's one. That's as good. If I speak wrong, that's a good action verb. They can help me to fix my mistakes right away. I remember this mistake easier. I think I understand the idea, but this is not expressed correctly. I should always be capitalized. I think you need to write I can remember and then how to avoid this mistake. I'm not sure you want to remember the mistake itself. You probably want to learn how to correct this mistake or avoid this mistake or fix this mistake. And easier is good if it's an adjective, but here it's an adverb that modifies a verb that's missing. Remember to repair or avoid this mistake more easily. So you should use the adverb form. I sometimes listen to music. That's a good use of the simple present. And watch television. That's good. This is wrong to say vocabularies. Vocabulary with Y. That is a non-count noun. What do we count? We count words. One word, many words in my vocabulary. Do not use this in the plural form. Use it in singular because it's a non-count noun. All right, now let's go and see number 4, present perfect, something that happened in the past and relates to the present. I have lived in the United States for 4 years. Okay, that's good use of present perfect. Is this a mistake on our country name? It's not the United States. What's missing here? States. Must be plural. What else? I have learned English. All right, that's a good use of the present perfect tense, but number 8, it's not the correct form. This verb phrase is incorrect. After the word have or has, you must use the past participle, so you need to add ed right here, have learned. I've learned English since I was in high school. All right, don't capitalize high school because that's a common noun. Only capitalize when it's a proper noun. For example, my high school was called Berkeley High School. If I say I went to high school in Berkeley, I use lowercase. If I say I went to Berkeley High School, then I use uppercase because it's a proper name. Let's see, present perfect, another one. I haven't had success. I tried in many ways, but so far I haven't had success. Well, if you're showing something that started in the past and continues until now, your verb tried in the past tense is not the right one. You should use present perfect in both of those cases. I've tried in many different ways. But what's wrong with way? Besides changing this to the present perfect, way is a count noun. Only one way? You have many, right? If you say many, you know it must be a count noun. What's missing? S. Ways. I've tried to talk to English people and children. English people means people from England. If you're in the United States, you are probably not talking to English people and you're not talking to English children. You're probably talking to English speakers or English speaking people. If you say people and children, it sounds like people and animals, people and plants. Well, children are part of people, right? Children is a subset of people, so it's not appropriate to put those together with with a conjunction and. So adults and children, in that case, they're both people, but different ages of people. What else? Present perfect, no more. Yes, one more in the end, but it doesn't make any sense. So far, my English have had better. My English have been, that doesn't make any sense. So I think maybe you mean so far my English has improved. Something like that? Has become better. So English is a third person singular, cannot use have. I have, you have, we have, they have, but it has, and then the wrong verb. You need to use different vocabulary. Has become better, or use the verb has improved. Now let's look for number 5, present continuous or present perfect continuous for changing situations. I don't see any. Missing, missing, missing. This paragraph has none. This is missing present continuous, present perfect continuous. You need to figure out a way to include that because we're trying to talk about some changes when we talk about trends. Other tenses, yeah, you use the past tense, but that's not appropriate here. And this one, I came here. I think that's okay, but this word doesn't make any sense. That's not a word in English, unstill. So until doesn't make any sense either. Maybe you mean even after I came here, even after I have been here for how many years, I still can't talk English well. Maybe that's what you mean, not sure. Remember to capitalize I. Okay, now, if you are going to use but not me, you notice you're using the object pronoun me, but you're using people in the subject position. People are good, but I am not good. People are good, but I am not. So this is the incorrect form. You need to use subject form, not object form. Let's see. Let me look at this part. You used a different verb form here with a modal, can help. My teacher can help me find out what I need to change and learn. This is change and learn. This is not good parallel structure because if the teacher tells me what I need to change, it's not to change more. What I need to change and how to learn better or how to learn more. This doesn't make sense here either. The use of the word currently, the time expression, I have always tried, because this one is present perfect and this is currently, which is something that should be going on right now. You could say currently I am trying to make conversations with anybody. Okay, and also this phrase, if I speak wrong, if I say something wrong, that would be better. Okay, well, I think I'm giving you some tips on how you can improve this paragraph to make it even better next time around. Oh, I know, one more thing. Language. So language is a count noun, and you have to determine whether it's singular or plural. So do you mean learning new languages because you're talking about many languages? No, because you only talked about English. So you should probably put in here, learning a new language. So same thing here, same problem here. If the noun is a count noun, you have to make it either singular or plural, but you can't skip that. All right, that's an English thing. It may not be true in your language, but it's true in English. Let's look at the vocabulary now. It has quite a lot of K1 vocabulary, quite a bit, 94%. These are the really low-level basic words. Not even 3% are the K2 words, and there's only one word in here that's of the academic nature. So I think it would be a better paragraph with more academic vocabulary in it. Okay, thank you. Let's go on to student 8. Okay, in the title or the subject line, it was written, "Life is so painful," period. All right, if this is your title, then you must not put a period because a title doesn't have periods. The title capitalizes all important words. And a title is normally a noun or noun phrase and not a sentence. But if you want to keep it a sentence, it would be okay if you correct it in those ways. Now it looks like there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 paragraphs. So I don't think there are really 6 paragraphs. I think that the writer needs to know how to use the word processor better because maybe it's just 1 paragraph. Anyway, let's take a look at the story. Every Monday, I have to take my mom to dialysis clinic where patients have gotten treatment for their kidneys problem. Patients have to sit in their own chairs. They have gotten needle connect from their body to the machines by sharp needles and the plastic tubes. They get a lot of painful every single time by the sharp needles. I hate to see the time when my mom got poke in the needles. It is really, really painful to see. Patients have to come for treatment at least 3 times a week. They depend on the machines. For the rest of their life, how can they come to work? How can they enjoy the life? Some patients can have new kidney if they have good luck, but most of them no luck. Why God give love to give us the life with too much painful? Okay, so this one has a lot of emotion about painful life. It is 150 words long, and I don't see any underlined verbs at all. So I don't know if this writer is aware of verbs. All verbs are supposed to be underlined, and particularly the ones that were in the present tenses. So now we have to go and look for them. Every Monday I have to take, okay, this would be the modal have to plus take. That's something that is a regular or routine activity. This is the next verb should be the present tense because it is habitual action routine. So that needs to be changed to where patients get treatment. Don't use the present perfect here. Use the simple present because you're talking about every Monday. By the way, Monday is should be capitalized. And here's another have to sit. That's okay. They have to sit in their own chairs. I'm not sure what's the importance of this sentence. I mean, if they have to sit in my chairs or somebody else's chairs, I mean, I'm not sure what the purpose of this sentence is. This should be simple present because it is a routine. They haven't gotten connect from their. This doesn't make sense. I think you need to say something like this. Their body is connected or gets connected to the machines. What machines? The dialysis machines, right? Not a typewriter machine. Let's see, something like this. Their body gets connected to the machines with sharp needles and plastic tubes. You don't need this. I think you need to say they get connected to the machines with a plastic tube. That's the main thing, and the needle. The needle is the end point. It's not the thing that connects their whole body to the machine. Then you use simple present here. They get, that's good. But this is not right. Painful is an adjective. You cannot get a lot of adjective. You get a lot of noun. What is a noun? Just drop off the F-U-L. They get a lot of pain every single time. From, okay, you have some problems with the prepositions in many cases. So from sharp needles. Spell needles correctly, please. Not 2 D's, just one. And then what do you ever have in the parentheses? Is that important for the paragraph or not? This is supposed to be more or less an academic paragraph. It's not necessarily one that you're showing things of your thoughts. But if you want to use it, then using the present tense here, hate, is appropriate. Then this one should also be present tense. And my mom gets. And then this one has to be past participle. Like gets connected, you all say gets poked. So remember get, like get married, get divorced, get tired, get poked, get plus the past participle. Okay, and certainly my mom doesn't get poked in the needles. She gets poked with a needle. Does she have more than one needle? Then needles. If she's only got one needle, then you say with a needle. Okay, patients have to come for treatment at least 3 times a week. Right, THREE. They depend on the machines for the rest of. Okay, so these are all simple present tense because you're talking about routines or habits. I don't see any present perfect, something that happened in the past, and relates to the present. I don't see any present continuous. I don't see any present perfect continuous. I don't see anything that shows anything about changing conditions. So maybe when you rewrite this paragraph, you should think about before she had dialysis and now that she has dialysis, and you can see some sort of change in action. I think that would be a lot better and be able to fit the requirements of this paragraph. Now, another thing I want to say is that you have structure of questions, but you don't have any question marks. So you wrote, how can they come to work? There's a comma. There should be a question mark. How can they enjoy life? Don't put the. You have to have a question mark. Some patients can have new kidney if they have good luck. Good luck is 2 words. But most of them, we need to have a subject and a verb. So our subject is most. Most of them, what's the verb? Have no luck. You could say that. Why God love? This does not make sense. See, you know how to make a sentence right here with a question. You can say why, what auxiliary goes here. This is a problem with auxiliary. This is on your checklist. Check for auxiliaries. Why does God love to give us life with too much pain? I'm not sure what question you're trying to ask. Maybe you're trying to ask why did God love to give us life, with too much pain, with so much pain, no full. That's an adjective. Okay, so you have a lot of feeling in this paragraph, and I need you to change it into something more academic. You can see that this paragraph has no academic words at all, and it is very repetitious. In fact, you have painful, 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 needles, needles. You have a lot of repeated words. So maybe when you rewrite this, as I said, you could figure out the time frame, something that happened before now and is related to the current time. Student 9 also wrote learning new language. And what I told you before in other students' writing is that language is a countdown. You have to determine if this is going to be plural languages or if it's singular, a new language. The capitalization is correct. All right, it says, I have been U.S. Now, there's a missing something here, missing preposition, in, and the U.S. is always the U.S., and make sure U dot S dot, U period, S period. For how long? For almost 3 years. Spell 3, T-H-R-E-E. When I first came here, everything looked strange to me. Especially language was biggest challenge. This word especially is in the wrong place. You can put it in the sentence, but language was especially the biggest or my biggest challenge. So I decided to study English. Now I am an ESL student and have been studying almost for 1 year. Almost is in the wrong position. You need to say for how long? For almost 1 year. At the beginning, I was very shy. I could not communicate with people who are speaking English. Okay, past tense, could not communicate, people who were speaking English or people who spoke English. I am always afraid my pronunciation, to be afraid of something. However, I was surprised my speaking and listening are better than before. Okay, I'm not sure why you put this in the past tense. So when were you surprised and when were you very shy? You have 2 past tenses here. I was very shy and I could not communicate and I was surprised. So is this the same time frame or different? It's unclear to me. I think if it should be now, then this is better in the present. All right, now I have enjoyed talk to. If you say now, then you have to have present tense. Now I enjoy. And enjoy must be followed by the gerund. So not talk, but talking. And to each person in English. If you say to each person, that means you are talking to each person that you meet. I doubt it. I doubt that you're talking to each person. Well, think about it. I mean, I'm just asking you this question. Do you talk to each person? If so, that's okay. If not, you better think of something else to say. When I speak fluently, I feel confidence. When I speak fluently, that's simple present, I feel, that's good. But this is the wrong form because I feel plus an adjective, like I feel tired, I feel happy, I feel sad, I feel confident. ENT, that is the adjective form, like independent and dependent. As time has gone by, I have gotten more progressive in my English skill. Okay, I don't think you've gotten more progressive. That is a little bit odd to say about your English skill. You could say, I have progressed more. Use the word progress as a verb. I have progressed more in my English skill. Maybe skills. Not only one skill, but many skills, like listening, speaking, reading, and writing. I'll continue to learn English until I cross the language barrier. Okay, that's good. I hope all my wishes come true through my own efforts in the near future. Okay, it's a little bit short. It's only 135 words. You could add some more details to this. You did use some simple present to talk about some general truths. Present perfect you used as time has gone by. Yeah, you can fix that sentence. Present continuous, I don't see. Present perfect continuous, I see here. I've been studying. All right, just one time. So you don't have a lot of information in this because it's only 135 words. You could probably include a lot more details. Other tenses, yes, you use things like use could not communicate and use some past tense. Time expressions. I'm missing those. Verb phrases using the correct form. I think I gave you ideas about how you can correct those verb forms. Let's look at the vocabulary. Wow, 92% of this paragraph is in K1 words, the lowest level of words. And only you got 3% green words, that's K2 words, and only 2 words are academic. So I would suggest that when you add more information to it, that you can beef up your vocabulary to make it an even better paragraph. Let's take a look at student 10. This student wrote, Kimberly Sue, I don't think that's the name of your paragraph. Your name does not go in the subject line. We already know your name because when you post it, it says who the poster is. What you need to do is write the title of your composition. So I believe it's something about learning a new language. Let's take a look. Learning a new language is really a great challenge. I have been utilizing English language for more than 20 years now. I have started from not speaking any English to capable of using English to work and social. However, I still need to enhance my knowledge in English. Even though I have taken many English courses, I'm still lacking confidence in using English. Every so often, when I have to make a conversation in English, I tumble through sentences with a lot of mistakes in pronunciation and grammar, which make me very uncomfortable. It usually takes me a long time to reply an email at work because I do not know what I write is correct or not. When I am with my colleagues, I feel that I am not as good as them. I think that my English deficiency has greatly affected my personal as well as professional growth. Despite all these difficulties, I'm still trying to study English and hope someday I can achieve English proficiency. Okay, this is a good paragraph, good content, and makes sense from the beginning to the end. It does have some grammatical mistakes in it, which we will look at in right now. Let's see, my little list of things isn't coming up here, but I think I can remember it. For the topic, yes, it's one of the topics, so that's great. The paragraph length looks like it's the right length. I guess I didn't write down the number here. Present tenses, we've got learning a new language is a really great challenge. That is correct use of simple present tense. Here's another simple present tense. I still need to enhance my knowledge in English. This is simple present tense used as a non-action verb. That's correct. Every so often when I have to make a conversation, that is a simple present tense in the modal have to, meaning must. I must make, I have to make. When I have to make a conversation in English, I tumble through sentences with a lot of mistakes in pronunciation and grammar. Okay, that's very good, which make me very uncomfortable. All of those uses of the present tense are good. This is a very good compound, complex sentence. it's got, oh, actually it's not a compound sentence. It's complex with two dependent clauses. Here's our first dependent clause, one I have to make conversation in English, comma. And here's our independent clause. I tumbled through sentences with a lot of mistakes in pronunciation, grammar. And then you should add a comma after grammar before the non-restrictive adjective clause, which make me very uncomfortable. Now, I think we need to look at the form of the verb, and this is number 8. Verb phrases, are they using the correct form? Do they use the correct form or not? This word make, I want to ask you this question. Does tumbling through the sentences with a lot of mistakes in grammar and punctuation make you uncomfortable, or do the sentences make you uncomfortable? Probably the action of tumbling through sentences with a lot of mistakes in grammar and pronunciation makes you uncomfortable. So that action is a third person singular. You need to have an S on that. For another present tense, you use, it usually takes me a long time to reply to an email. That's good. Remember, use the word reply. It's a VI. It's a verb that's intransitive. That means you cannot have email as a direct object. You have to use a prepositional phrase. Reply to an email. It takes me a long time to reply to an email at work because I do not know, simple present tense. Now the next clause is a problem. Okay, so we have what I write is correct or not. We need a, oh, here's my little cheat sheet here coming up right there, 170 words. What you need to put is, I do not know whether what I write is correct or not. I don't know if what I write is correct or not. You can use either whether or if before the word what, and then that sentence will be correct. So this is another complex sentence with two dependent clauses. So the first one is independent. It usually takes me a long time to reply to an email at work. And the next clause is because I do not know. And then it will be whether what I write is correct or not. That will be the next dependent clause. Okay, you use a lot of simple present tense. When I am with my colleagues, I feel that I am not as good as they are, because I, subject, I am good, they are good, I am not good as they are. I think, present tense, non-action verb, not continuous, that my English deficiency has greatly affected my, okay, now this one is the use of the present perfect. All right, and it's something that happened in the past and related to the present. I think my English deficiency has greatly affected my personal as well as professional growth. So that means it's not affecting it only now, but it started affecting my professional and personal growth earlier than now. So present perfect is good to be in this sentence. Another present perfect is, let's see, in the third line, I have started from not speaking. Now, this is incorrect. This is incorrect. This should be simple past. I started from not speaking any English. That was a long time ago. That's not related to now. The starting point is definitely a completed action and should be in past tense. Okay, from not speaking any English to capable. No, not to capable. That doesn't make sense. To must be followed by, this is a preposition. To must be followed by a noun, a pronoun, or a gerund. Noun, pronoun, or gerund. So that means you're missing a gerund form of a verb. So capable is an adjective, and we say to be capable. How do we make the gerund? We say being. So being capable. Being capable of using English. To work and social. Now that does not make sense either. To work, this is an infinitive, and social is an adjective. This is not parallel. So you can do something like use noun phrases and say, using English at work, where work is a noun, and in social interaction, because social is an adjective. You need to have a noun. Otherwise, you could use compound verbs Using English to work and socialize. That's the verb form of that word family. Now, let's look at some present continuous and or present perfect continuous to show changing situations. Let's see. You wrote, I am still lacking confidence. The word lack is not an action word. It's something, it's a state. So remember, don't use ing verbs in for non-action verbs. Just change that to the simple present. Where else did you use? Here, I am still trying to study English. Okay, that's good because try is an action. So you can use this in the present continuous. Despite all these difficulties, I'm still trying to study English. Are you trying to study it or are you trying to learn it? Remember, in English, there's a difference between study, which is the effort that you make, and learn, which is the result or the positive result of studying. Other tenses you used I can achieve. That's a modal. You should have used past tense there. Time expressions like recently, up to now, these days. I'm not seeing any. How about, okay, verb phrases using the correct form. Yeah, we talked about those sorts of things. Okay, so there's a few things that you can do to clean up this paragraph to make it even better. Let's take a look at the vocabulary. You've got 86% K1 words, almost 5% K2 words, and more than 5% academic words, so that means you met the challenge of incorporating at least 5% academic words in your composition. Okay, thank you. Let's go on to number 11. This one was titled Essay Homework 1. Please don't use a title like that. That doesn't say anything. That's an assignment title. What's the title of your composition? That's what you need to put here. Physiological studies have found that speaking 2 or more languages is a great asset to the mental process. People who begin language study in their adult live can still achieve similar level of fluency as a young learner. I know he who learn and speak a second language usually tries to accept aggressively others' cultures and have an open-minded thought about it. Also, if he can speak multi-languages, then he is better opportunity to make success his business. He who is the exert reading and write of another one accepts a wide knowledge from foreign books, news, and journal more than the single language learner. I have been learning a second language, which is English, since I was in middle school, and I had learned a third one, which was Japanese, during 1 year when I was in college, and I consider to be learned another language, which is Chinese, when I finish an ESL course. I, who am an electrical engineer, am taking technology issues, upgrading technical skills, and getting local news by English news and books now. Absolutely, it is a powerful tool while I work on engineer field, which have been making higher my potential and increasing an engineer life since when I learn English. I will learn and speak continuously other languages so far as time permits. Okay, I can understand some of this essay. There are some parts that are not clear to me, so we need to kind of look at what is meant here. Okay, where's my little trying to bring up my numbers 1 through 8. Okay, I will try to remember them. I think the first one is about the topic, and I think you've got 2 topics here, and the length of the essay is, I believe, must be greater than the limit of 150 to 175. It looks like a lot more, and it looks like there's 2 different topics here, so that's one of the reasons I'm having a little bit of trouble understanding some stuff. Now let's go and look at the verb tenses. We were looking for present to see if we have any present verbs for habitual action or general truth or routine or fact. Okay, let's see. People who begin language study in their adult. All right, I think that is a good use of the simple present here. I think you mean life and not live. Let's see, people who begin, let's just say that's what it is. People who begin language study in their adult life can still achieve similar level of, okay, level is definitely a count noun. So, do you mean levels or do you mean a similar level? You've got to make a choice between singular and plural. Don't ignore it, otherwise it's wrong. Level of fluency as a young learner. I think it's not a learner, it's a learner. So make sure, I mean, this is something easy to do, is to fix the spelling. I know he who. That doesn't make sense to say he who. I mean, I know, I don't know what you mean. Let's see, I know something learn and speak a second language usually tries to accept. Okay, maybe this is what you mean. Let me guess. I know that a person who learns and speaks a second language, oh, there it is, it usually tries to accept. Okay, so this whole thing is very difficult and needs to be fixed. If that's your meaning, it would be, I know that a person who speaks a second language. I don't know learn and speak, why you have those two together. I think speak is good enough. Speaks a second language usually tries to, or maybe you mean learns to speak. I know that a person who learns to speak a second language usually tries to accept. I don't like this word aggressively. It sort of has a negative meaning. Others' cultures. Maybe what you mean is cultures of other people. In that case, you need to have an apostrophe after the word others, apostrophe after the S. Then we would know the relationship between cultures belonging to other people. So maybe not aggressively, but enthusiastically would be a better word. And have an open-minded thought. Just say an open mind without a hyphen and get rid of the word thought. I know that a person who learns to speak a second language really tries to accept others' cultures, or you can say other cultures, just me using other as an adjective. Other cultures enthusiastically, and third person singular has an open mind about it. All right, so we've got some real serious problem about subject-verb agreement here. Also, if you can speak multi-language. Multi-languages does not make sense. Multiple is an adjective, multiple, or multiple languages. If he can speak multiple languages, then he is better opportunity. No, he doesn't. You can't use the word is. Opportunity is not something you can be. You can have an opportunity. He has an opportunity is count noun. So again, singular or plural. Don't forget, in English you have to make it singular or plural. So I think you better make this singular and put a here. A better opportunity to make. I'm not sure what you mean. Make success as business. Do you mean make to? Do you mean do business more successfully? Okay, he who. This doesn't make any sense. He who. He who is the exert reading and write of another one. I'm sorry, I don't understand what this means. Maybe you mean a person who. You need a verb here. Who. I don't. And this is not parallel. Reading and write of another one accepts. I'm not sure what this means. I know the meaning of the words, but I don't understand the meaning of the idea. Wide knowledge from. Maybe you mean a person who reads widely, learns a lot from foreign. Maybe you mean a person who knows more than one language can gain a wide. amount of knowledge, can gain wide knowledge from foreign books, news, and journals. Again, plural. More than single language learner? I don't think so. Maybe more than a person who speaks only one language. Is that what you mean? Okay, so stuff is all present. I don't see anything in here with present perfect, present continuous, other tenses. So that's a little bit fuzzy here, not so clear. This starts using some continuous. I have been learning a second language, which is English. Why don't you just say I've been learning English as a second language? I mean, that's it's too much extra words all in funny places. So I've been learning English as a second language since when I was in middle school. How about since I was in middle school? Not since when. I don't need those. I don't need two adverbs. One adverb is sufficient. And I had learned a third one, which was Japanese, during 1 year when I was in college. No, 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 no. This is definitely not right. I was in middle school. That's past tense. Had learned. I don't think you learned it before middle school because you wrote in college. In college, I'm sure that came after middle school. So why are you using past perfect? Past perfect is used for some time that would be before middle school. So what's the purpose of that? Maybe you just need to say, I learned a third language, which was Japanese, comma, which was Japanese, comma, for 1 year, not during 1 year, for 1 year. That's 4 plus a duration of time when I was in college. And I consider to be learned, I don't know what that means. Let me see, let me think. I think maybe you're trying to say, and I am considering right now a present continuous. I'm changing my languages. It's a changing situation. I am considering learning Chinese. But you don't need to say all of this stuff. You're making sentences way too complicated. I'm considering learning Chinese when I finish an ESL course, when I finish this ESL course, when I finish all my ESL classes. Not sure about that. I, who am an electrical engineer, am taking. No, this is so complicated. You could say, I, as an electrical engineer, I am taking technology issues. Are you taking classes? To upgrade. This is definitely not to be underlined because you need to have an infinitive of purpose. Purpose. What is your purpose? I'm taking technology classes to upgrade my technical skills. Okay, how is this related to learning language? You need to make this more clear. Absolutely, it is a powerful tool. What is a powerful? Oh, English. I think that's what you mean. Okay, English is absolutely a powerful tool in the field of engineering. Okay, too many witches here. And okay, so what I would like you to do is really cut this one down. Cut this one down to 150 to 175 words. Try to find some common element between the two paragraphs. And I don't think I see a completely correct sentence in this essay. So work on your sentence structure as well. Okay, and take a look at your vocabulary. 77% is in the field, the level of K1, 4% in K2, and 4% AIWL, and a lot of off-list words, perhaps because the way you wrote them. A lot of these words are not one, but they're two, which are stuck together. So you have to be careful about how to use the space bar. in between words, and then it won't show up that way. Yeah, I think what's happening here is that you have put line breaks instead of writing in paragraph form. So be careful about that too. And then this will turn out a little bit differently next. Okay, I've given my comments on how to improve these essays. So thank you all for handing in your writing assignment on time, and I hope my comments and corrections are helpful to you. You have another chance to get a better grade by revising your composition. Make sure that you put revision in the subject line along with your title when you post it to the Chapter 1 discussion board. Thank you all. Bye-bye.